Hello folks, welcome to GingerLion's Agrarian Skies modded Minecraft Let's Play. So, the end of last episode I left you with a little bit of a teaser, and I figure if you take a look in my inventory, you'll have a pretty good idea what it is that I'm doing. Yes, I already have a big reactor, but I need a bigger one. What I'm doing is basically setting myself up, instead of this, I'm setting myself up a 9 by 9 by 9 reactor. I'm not going to put it here. Not quite sure yet where I'm going to put it. In fact, let's make that decision right now. I'm going to toss these things back into the system. I basically pulled them out to make sure I had enough to make what I want to make. Redstone energy conduit I can run later. Cable I can run later. I'm gonna need torches. So, we have for my favorite building material, that's plenty of obsidian, and I'd like my builder's wand. So, let's set out and find ourselves a location for power. You know what? I think since we ran a set of power cables down along this, that maybe not directly above, but how about that way, underneath my animal farm and squid pool up there. Seems like a really good choice, and for some reason I like this level. So, I'm going to build myself a bit of a platform. Now, I'm going to build this platform considerably larger than I need it. Why is that? Well, if any of you remember my last reactor building, you remember that because I'm working with liquid ender, I have the possibility, if I manage to slip and fall, of being teleported quite a long range away from the reactor. Now, I might end up on top of the reactor, I might end up off to any one of the sides, but I really don't want to run the risk, basically, of being teleported off into the middle of nowhere. So, that seems more than big enough. And so I'm going to extend it this way. Basically, I actually really want to, for no reason whatsoever, I really want to stay in the footprint of the farm up there. The animal pen, as it were. So I'm going to do that. It doesn't cost me anything. It's just me being me. That way, from the map and from above, it doesn't show up. These reactors aren't the prettiest things. They're kind of awe-inspiring, but they are not beautiful. They're not decorative objects, as it were. So, let's see. I want to make sure I miss the ladder, for no reason whatsoever other than if I ever need to use that ladder again, which I doubt now that I have an elevator stack. That little slime bouncing around over there reminds me that I have not gotten a single slime from my slime trap, my mob trap. Perhaps the spawns from the... See? And they're spawning out there just fine. Perhaps the spawns from the cursed earth are slightly overwhelming it. That's entirely possible. Let's just go ahead and build this out until we're basically on par with the edge of that. There, that's with the line, and I'm right on it. Perfect. So yeah, I'm going to have to consider what the solution is to not getting slimes, and I haven't gotten any more red hearts. Not that I, at the moment have a use for them, but I did see another YouTuber mention that he had been in contact with the mod pack creators, and the fact that you can't make green heart canisters and red heart canisters anymore is an accident. It's a programming glitch, and that, at least in his particular case, he had gotten a beta version of the updated mod pack to resolve that problem. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good platform. It still does show a little bit from above. If you look on the map, you can see that I'm sticking out in both directions a little bit, but that's fine. I'll be okay. No need to extend that anymore. So, let's Not actually going to lay it out with obsidian because it's a huge pain. In fact, why don't I lay it out with the right resources and take a look at where I'm at. So there's our platform. We need this to get up to 236, so I may very well just finish it. That's over 1,000 ender pearls more, by the way, that I'm having to dedicate to this reactor, but that's okay. I had 1,000 when I started. I had more than 1,000. I think I had 1,200 or something. I'm down quite a lot. Basically what I've done is I've set up 2 magma crucibles, basic export buses, back to back. This is the other one here, with a ME fluid interface in between. Just gives them a quick, easy dump point. So, let's see. I don't need this page directly in my hand. I do want the builder's wand. Let's go ahead and grab the items that I know I need to put down. I don't need those yet. Let that continue token. It's getting close. So, like I said, I am planning on building a 9x9. Direwolf would be proud, except that it's a 9x9x9 reactor, not, a house. But that's fine. So, that seems pretty good. Let me take that torch down. 2, 3. There. That should be the footprint of my reactor. Let's just make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. There is the footprint of the reactor itself. And since I don't have anywhere near enough blocks to finish it off until I tear my other reactor apart, which doesn't sound like a lot of fun, I'm going to light up the surface. So, there we are. There's a basic layout. So, I'm going to head back upstairs. By the way, we are 72% done the sewage quest. Still ticking along. So, I need 236 buckets. I think I'm going to take a risk and pull these ender pearls out, hoping to save myself from overproducing molten ender. Let's see what we get. 220. I need 16 more, which is 4 ender pearl stacks. Don't think I'm going to have quite enough, but I think I'm going to load the last of them manually. I don't have a huge use for molten ender beyond this, at least not at the moment. We'll check out the other one. There, it's done. They should all be done, and the buses should have already exported all of it. 25, 36, need 11 more buckets. I might as well make 12. So how I'm figuring this out, by the way, is ender pearls, when melted down, produce a quarter of a bucket. So if I want 12 more buckets, I need 24 more ender pearls. No, sorry, 48 more ender pearls. That's why I made 4 stacks of 12. I know it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but it's going to allow us to complete a quest. Let me show you the quest that I'm talking about. It's a little lateral, but it's wonderful. So, having for the hoarding, there's this little side quest over here called automated mining, for which I have to make a laser drill and a laser drill precharger. This laser drill will use a massive amount of power. In fact, if I'm correct, it will use 2,000 redstone flux per tick for the duration of its for producing minerals. But basically what it does is it produces you all the ores and the ender ores for free, which will allow me to mostly shut down this entire processing center, which will give me a lot of processor power back, as it were, which will allow me to stop running a whole bunch of unnecessary and slightly annoying processes that I've basically had to run to adapt to the X-Nilo process. By switching over to MFR for my resource production, I'll just be a lot happier. So I needed 236, I made a spare, we're in perfect shape. So, if I recall correctly, yep, okay, good. That's what I needed. Now, let's get everything that I need out of this system first. There's no way I'm going to shut this down until I'm ready. So let's see. I have a full resonant energy cell that's going to power all the rest of these systems for the duration. Hopefully it'll keep up. But if it doesn't, I'm going to accept the fact that they may shut down for a period of time. Now, I need all this glass, control rods, I don't need redstone ports, and need my fuel rods, need my crescent hammer, and builder's wands. I'm going to take 3 stacks of yellorium. I want an export bus. Precision? Yeah, because it may need to craft at some point in the future. I need an import bus to remove the spent fuel. That doesn't need to be anything special at all. And I want cables to connect this to my ME network. And conduits to do the same thing. Okay. And I'm going to remove the quest book because I don't need it right now. I want ladders, actually. I want some ladders. Well, that'll be well more than enough. Okay, folks, so looks like we have reached our moment in history when this reactor is ready to shut down. So, why don't I show you me shutting this entire beastie down, and we're going to start by deactivating the reactor. Now, I can take both of these buses off. In fact, I could just reuse them instead of using the ones in my inventory, but I would like you to eject fuel. How much fuel did it eject? Not enough. I'd like all of the fuel, please. And there's less than a bucket of all of the above. Okay, so I've gotten all the fuel out of my reactor. So now, next step, to grab my pickaxe and get to work. Now, I'm gonna, there is a thing that I forgot to get, and I'm glad I thought of it now. I would like a stack of buckets. One of them's going to go right here for now, because it's going to be awfully hard to get liquid resin and ender into and out of reactors if I don't have a bucket to do it with. So a quick disassembly. The control rods are safe enough. But once I open these glass things, I'm going to shift over to ducking. Yeah, it does. It makes the glass break noise, but I still pick them up. So I'm going to put the bucket down. I'm going to grab, as much of this as I can. Yep, it looks like I can get all of it. Hope this is all going to fit. I believe that it will all fit just fine. If not, I'll end up with some buckets in my inventory. 49, 50, 51, 52. Yeah, it'll be just fine. So there we go. Now, the rest of this disassembly is going to be pretty straightforward, so I'm going to do this off camera, and I'm going to run everything downstairs, and when I'm getting relatively close to assembly, I'll bring you back in. Well, as you can see, folks, I just barely got the reactor torn down, and we've already got this thing down to almost nothing in terms of power. So, we're going to have ourselves a little bit of a problem. Luckily, I think I have another one inside powering my ME system, but even if I don't, this is all going to work. For the moment, I'm going to drop this fuel off because I absolutely need this. I need this glass too. Okay. So now, even if my ME system shuts down, that will be sad, but I believe I have everything I need to survive while I do this transplant. Okay, so here's my reactor. I would like the power tap, because this reactor produces enough fuel to require power to produce more than one. To be over here as close as I reasonably can get them to the redstone energy conduit. So, just extend that straight across. Might as well connect them while I'm here. Once it's a valid reactor. Oh, why are those? I guess it's only accepting one of them for the moment. It will connect to the rest of them later. And since I want my access ports to be over on this corner, switching one of them to outlet mode, I might as well precision export that already configured. Where's my pre-configured? Nope. They're both basics, that's why. Okay, that's good. And run my cables across also. Ooh, that's from my green network. Well, then I'm going to have to do some tricks in a little bit. Not going to run upstairs and fix that now. I want the reactor running more than anything else. My ME network is, at this point, a secondary concern. So, now I need a bunch of things. Let's reorg my inventory better. I'm going to keep the book out, because if I fall, I'm going to want it in my hands. Now, glass, casings. Let's lay down the reactor controller. Might as well put it right here. That makes that easy. And let's put our RedNet port right here. And because I can, let's connect a RedNet cable And that gets some of the unusual stuff out of our inventory and makes that all a little better organized. In fact, I can go ahead and slap this in. I'll explain that a little bit later. So, now, we want to lay out our fuel rods. I don't need this. Our fuel rods, our reactor casing, our glass, and at some point soon, our enderium. But, okay, so now, as we remember, the corners always have to be reactor casing. And I've chosen to use glass on these outer edges. I think it looks pretty. I like to be able to see into the reactor, especially when they're big brutes like this one. It's just neat. It's not necessary. If you want to build this same reactor with, you know, the reactor casing everywhere, it actually will cost you less in terms of materials, but it's nowhere near as cool looking. So, now, our pattern of fuel rods is going to go like this. I don't want them touching the edge, ever. I always want at least one buffer of resonant ender between them and the walls. That will allow efficient transfer of heat to the reactor casing, which is where you want it. Now is where things start to get a little bit, I don't know, I guess annoying is the word that I'm going to choose to use. I need to put this drum down. I need to grab myself buckets. I'm going to toss this stuff all up. Guess that's going to do. And then fill each one with resonant ender. And then place the resonant ender around the edges. Each level is going to take quite a lot. I think it's 32 or 36. I don't have my sheet right in front of me right now, but I can refill each one from this barrel, and it's relatively easy to travel over here because I can just hold shift and walk, and I won't fall off of the fuel rods into the resonant ender, which is definitely a concern. Resonant ender, as I've mentioned before and some of you have seen, will teleport you a pretty reasonable distance. The only issue is you have to stop crouching when you want to fill up from the bucket. And I didn't make many, if any, spare buckets, so I don't want to waste any of them by putting them in the same square as an existing one, so I'm having to focus quite a lot on making sure that I don't make that mistake, because that's an expensive mistake, especially considering that right now I don't have, likely, an ME system up above that I can just casually run up to and grab some more ender pearls and toss them into my magma crucible. I don't have any of the luxuries of that system up above being available for my use. So, but I do want to show you something that makes this, well, not necessarily easy, at least much more possible. First step is I need to make sure that I make 100% sure that when I pick this up, that I get it and it doesn't fall into anything or cause any problems, because, well, it's all of the rest of my resonant ender. Now, the builder's wand comes in really neat here because it recognizes the pattern of fuel rods and goes ahead and fills them in for you. Doesn't get all of them because it can only get 9 at a time, but it does get the bulk of them. Now, it will also get the glass, and once I've gut glass continuously around the edge, it will be very easy for me to fill in these layers. What I mean by that is this. Let's get this and this out of my inventory. And casing and glass. This, it doesn't recognize this as a gap that needs to be filled with glass. I do. There. Now, the next time, it will be extremely easy for me to fill that up. So, I'm going to do each of these levels just like that, and I'll come back once I'm nearly done. So by the way, if you're laying out a reactor like this or setting up this kind of thing and you're trying to figure out where you've missed putting a bucket, there's your clue. See how this is pointed at that and this is sort of pointed in both directions? That's because both this and this are empty right now. So if I put a bucket in there, that stops being pointed at it and this points here clearly. So just wanted to give you guys a quick show of how to troubleshoot this if you're in the process of building one. So, be back once I'm done. Okay, folks, so here are the last 4 buckets going in on the top. My character is officially hungry, but considering that he just built a reactor in a big stack like that, I guess that's pretty reasonable. So, now, pick up the barrel. By the way, yes, I did figure out that there are 36 buckets of liquid enderium per level here, because I had 38 when I started this level, and now I have 2. So, that seems pretty reasonable. Now, I did not build, I missed much earlier, and didn't go back to get the reactor casings along the edge, so I'm going to have to do those after. Oh, and I just messed up. Okay, let me... And there are 2 glass on the ground. So, this level, because it's the top edge, this requires reactor casing along the top. I'm starving, officially. Okay, now, I want these and these, along with these, in my hand. This will make this a lot easier. So, placing that since I can get to it easily. Okay, now, reactor control rods on the top of each of these, and I'm now hungry enough that I do have to eat. I was sort of hoping to put it off till I finish the reactor, but no such luck. 8 minutes of well-fed buff. I should be just fine now. There's one other thing that I really badly would like to have in my hand, and that's torches. Because, as you see, the top of these reactors doesn't glow. Now, the interior seems to glow pretty well, but the top does not. So, we're going to have to light it up, and I think that that was enough. Now, let's go ahead and fill in every spot I can easily reach. Can't fit there. And I'm basically using glass here on the top. Again, it's a slightly more expensive building material than not using glass, but by my standards, it means it looks quite a lot prettier, and that's great. That means that when I view it from above, which I'm likely to do at least occasionally, I will enjoy the look of my reactor. Well, there's that. Yep, good. Pink. Now, let's fill in the last of the edges, and theoretically, this reactor should start working. I don't have anything good to stand on to do this. There we go. Didn't get that one quite right. Okay, and that should, yep, that's connected in all places. We've got an in, we've got an out, all of that should be active. Now, let's start by, I know this isn't actually going to work because it's not connected to the right network, so I'm going to have to hand feed all the yellorium that I have into this to try to get it to run, just to produce power for the rest of my systems. Now, I guess I'm going to start by just, no, it won't activate. Interesting. Not have enough fuel? Did I not configure something right? No, it's on. It's just using all its fuel power because it's trying to recharge something up there. So now, I'm going to slightly change the way I've been doing my reactor power management. And let me show you what I'm doing. I'm going to, this is going to be I/O up. And I'm going to set this to output its energy amount on white. So, I'm going to set this I/O up white, but I'm going to change it to adder analog, and what I'm going to do is add them together. And then I'm going to store that information in variable 1. Next, I am going to repeat that process. I'm going to add variable 1 with I/O up white. So basically what I just told the system to do is, because I don't have a multiply function available, I set it to multiply whatever signal it's getting from white times 3. And then I am going to use a subtractor, and I'm going to subtract variable 2, is that what I stored it as? Variable 2, correct. Variable 2, and I'm going to subtract a constant 200 from it. Now, those of you who can visualize curves in their head, which I can't, will understand that basically what I just did was tell this to take its input, multiply it times 3, and subtract 200. Yeah, multiply it by 3 and subtract 200. What I basically did was make it so that this reactor, once I've got it all figured out, I/O up, and let's go with black. That's real easy. And I want the control rods to run based on black and the output energy amount on white. Commit changes. So now, basically what's going to happen is, it should be happening right now. Yep, the reactor just slammed the control rods in order to reduce how much power this reactor is producing, because it's full right now. As this energy buffer drops, which is occurring extraordinarily slowly. Interesting. I think my reactor needs fuel. So, I'm now at least providing power to the system. I would like to... I'm going to handle this by hand for the moment. Everything should be back online. I'm going to grab all the rest of the yellorium ingots that I can grab. And I'm going to take them and stick them in the green system. Now, that shouldn't be there, and that shouldn't be there. That, and that, and that. But this system was running, looks like, while the rest of my systems were off. Looks like it had just a little bit more power stored in it, or was using a little bit less power. So it couldn't export its items. That happens. Okay, so now you'll notice it's dumping yellorium in, but it's not as fast as I'd like. And let's come over here and switch this. Move items, craft, stack. That's fine. Now, what I do want to do is grab my crescent hammer, which is right here. I'm actually going to toss all this stuff out of my hands for the moment. I'm still running just a little bit in hustle mode. I don't need this anymore, or that, or that. All these conduits can be removed. Always good when I can recover a stack of these. Oop, wrong thing. Let's put that cable back. Okay. And now this is a completely empty resonant energy cell. It's what I was using as a buffer for my system. And I'm going to use it for the exact same thing here. I'm going to break this line. I'm going to set it to accept from the left and output to the right. Is that correct? Yep. And at the moment, it looks like it's getting power and sending power at the same rate, which doesn't make a huge amount of sense. So my system hung up somehow. Okay, so this energy buffer is draining. It's draining into that resonant energy cell to charge this up. That's wonderful. And so let me explain the curve thing that I did before. Basically, before, when I was just doing immediately connect energy buffer to the control rods, when this reached 90% power, the control rods were 90% in. That was great. But when it reached 50% power, the control rods were 50% in. So as far as I'm concerned, when my reactor reaches 50% of its power emptied, that's a problem. I don't want that to be okay. So if I had, basically, if the equation that I plugged into it was 3 times the power minus 200 equals control rod insertion. In other words, when this power buffer reaches 66, the control rods will be 100% out, and the reactor will be running at its full bore capacity. So it will always try to keep up to 66% at full bore. And then it will gradually scale between 66% power available and 100% power available. It will gradually scale the amount of power it is producing. You'll notice right now what it's basically doing is fluctuating back and forth across the 10.0 RF per tick line. That's because it's outputting 10 RF per tick to this. Now, it's going to continue doing that until that energy cell is out. And I think the system will stabilize and stop oscillating back and forth quite so much. So yes, basically what I designed this system to do, by setting up these three, input plus input plus input minus 200, is I removed 2/3 of this energy bar. 2/3 of it, the reactor will be running at full bore. Once it's past 2/3, then it will begin slowly shutting down, with it being completely shut down when the reactor is 100% full. So, now, I've got a reactor that, at the moment, is using 11 millibuckets per tick. Oh, sorry. 0.11 millibuckets per tick. It's producing about 10K RF, and it's running at about 400% fuel reactivity, which means it'll reduce the amount of fuel that's being burned up. So that's all good. Let me make sure this is set to automatically eject waste. Yes. Good. There's plenty of fuel sitting in here. For the moment, this system is just fine. So, I've finished step 1 of what I really wanted to do here. Let's see. Let me think about something. Could I bypass this also? Would that hurt anything? Power would be coming from here and going through and out that way. Power would also be going this way, which would mean that this would be drained less because it would come directly from the reactor. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do it by making sure that the back is... Actually, that's just fine too. The back's going to connect as a charging point, and now the reactor should be scaling up to 20 or more. Yup. Then at some point, this is going to stabilize. Yep. So, somewhere less than 26,000 RF per tick. And this will charge twice as fast. That's pretty cool. I like that. That means this will always be very full. And it means that if I want to tap power off of this system up to the maximum capability of this reactor, which is about 35K RF per tick, that I can. And that's good because I intend to now tap off at least 4. Let's see, what am I? 500 apiece. 8 of them is 100, 1,000, 2,000 RF per tick to get myself some resources. So, let me clean up my inventory and drop some stuff off and get ready to build a couple of things, and I'll be right back. Well, I had hoped this would be a lot closer to when you last saw me, but it isn't. And let me explain to you why. Because one of the things that I need to make is the laser drill precharger, and it requires pink slime balls. Now, to make a pink slime ball, you need to set up a slaughterhouse, like I've replaced this grinder with. And the slaughterhouse produces liquid meat, which is necessary for the fluid protein for the hoarding quest. You need 160 buckets of it, which I ought to get reasonably soon at this point. It doesn't produce any items, but I just left the configuration set up there. Out of the way, out of the way. And so it produces liquid meat, which is required for a quest, and it produces, well, let me show you. The other thing it produces is this, pink slime. Now, the reason I have so much of it is that I worked on a couple of other projects while we were gone. I decided that, after looking in here, that we had more than enough milk, so I shut down and tore down my milk production, and we have more than enough lava. In fact, we have too much of both of those, and I may very well put a little bit of work in making them go away. But in the meantime, what we need is, oh, by the way, and I also set up a completely automatic process for Yellorium. I'll show you that later. This only believes, I'll have to straighten out the tin ingot thing in just a minute. Let me see. Actually, I know I can do that right now. Let me toss those in my inventory. Get a bucket. I can empty this of witch water. Empty that bucket and fill it with pink slime. Now, what I would really like to do is make sure that I have more than enough pink slimes for the future. And there are a couple ways that you can go about this. Let me show you what's going to be my preference. I would like to make a slime embiggening syringe. This is going to take 2 types of slime balls and an empty syringe, which I should be able to make. Yes, 5 should be more than enough. 1. There's 5 of those. That makes sure that I get a plenty large enough slime that when I kill it, I produce quite a lot of slime balls. So that's actually going to be what I'm going to do right now. So basically, the pink slime bucket, when you make yourself a spot and pour it out, it will spawn slimes. I'm just going to decide, oh, hey, here's a perfect spot. Worst case scenario, the slime's going to fall off an edge somewhere. But that's just fine. So now we wait. And there we go. It produces a pink slime. Now I'm going to make him bigger. And make him bigger again. And now that he's really big, I'm going to do that again. And he's going to blow up. And it looks like he produced some meat. But he also produced 2 little ones. So let me enlarge both of those. And then, you know, I probably should have taken my sword out before I started this all fun thing. Hundreds of little slimes. Just what I wanted, actually. And there we go. So, I got myself 50 pink slimes out of that deal for basically the cost of a little bit of pink slime and a couple of syringes. Easy. Now, let's go ahead and toss the raw meat in there, the pink slime balls, and now we can get started on what I wanted to do. So, let's make the lasers. That's going to involve making some glowstone illuminators. But that makes illuminator frames. Do I have any silver nuggets? Let's see how many I have left. Just barely 1. Where's my silver? I'm going to make a bunch of them so that I don't ever have to think about making that again. And let's see, I need 1 and 1 for the quest, so I need 3 total. But I guarantee I'm going to make a whole bunch more in a little while. But no need to do that quite yet. Now, the uses for this are almost exclusively to be filled, and I need 1,000, a full bucket apiece, and that is produced by 4 glowstone. I need 12 glowstone. Hey look, I made illuminators earlier, and didn't think about it. I should have looked. Oh well. Oh. Redstone reception coils. Make a stack of those just so that I don't have to think about those anytime soon. And let's see if I can make the laser drill. I can. And the precharger? That's a different type of coil, isn't it? A conductance coil. Stack of those. Good. So that's enough to hand in that quest. And while I'm at it, I think I'm going to see if there are other quests that I can hand in. And I think, once I'm done this, I'm going to check the time, and we'll see how close we are to the end of this episode. So now, the Strong Bones quest, 100%. I have not picked anything yet, so make sure that's a valid heart. It is. I get 3 heart canisters, which makes me very happy. That'll increase my life by 3 more hearts. And an epic reward bag, which has blackberry, corn, and lettuce seeds. Nothing spectacular. I will just toss them in my system. Now, next. Can't do any of these. I could probably... Yeah, I already did that. No wonder I could probably do it. Fluid protein I'm working on right now. So, that's that for here. Let's go back up to learning to Skyblock. Yeah, they've made a couple of extra changes in here. And so I'm going to go ahead and make a steam dynamo. That seems really easy. I'm never going to use it, but that's fine. Flame reward. Nice. This is a good reward bag. And some decor items. Cool. Toss that stuff in my system. I'm going to hold on to those because they're really cool. Let's see. And I've already finished this. Moving power. I need redstone, hardened, and leadstone energy conduits. Let's see what I have. I really only have the redstone, which means the others are very easy to make. Leadstone and hardened. Of course, I only need to keep one of these, so I'll make that recipe. Good enough. And I need RedNet energy cable, which I have never made. Let's check this out. RedNet energy cable. I really only need one of them. Electrum nuggets. Easy. Easy. Okay, that's done. That's a quest handed in. Manual submit. Claimed my reward. Got myself a greater reward bag with a regeneration potion. Not bad. Let me look and see how many hearts I have. I have 4 quarters and a half, so take this out. That'll allow me to use that later. Let's see where we're at now. No, resonant flux capacitor. I think I might actually have everything that I need for that. Wrong place. Redstone flux capacitor. Leadstone. Hardened. Redstone. What's missing down there? Ah, pyrotheum dust. Make one of those, please. Glad I teach my system these things. So there's that. Manual submit. Doesn't need to be charged. Endothermic pump, Potion flash, redstone energy cell, and a reward bag. Very nice. Let's see, so this used in any recipes? It is used in the creation of the Ender Quarry. I need 2 of them. And it's used basically for pumping lava out of the nether. So, if I make myself an endothermic pump, that'll be valuable. What are the uses of this again? Can you upgrade this? You can. And I'm pretty sure that I have enough Enderium. Yep. It's an advantage to pre-making some of this stuff. Just tossing stacks of it into your inventory for later. There. I've actually been thinking I need another resonant energy cell so that because clearly my system can run on one for about 30 seconds. Well, closer to 5 minutes, but not enough for my reactor changeover, obviously. I'm peckish. Let me do that. Let's go back to looking. I've got 2 more quests that I'm going to have to do. One of them involves making an auto brewer. Did I ever get a... I don't have any blaze rods. I don't have any brewing stands. Okay, so I'm definitely going to have to do that, because I want to finish off this quest line. That'd be nice. Hell's Kitchen. Let me take a look at how many tomatoes I have. I doubt I have 10,000, but I do have 10,000, in fact. So, I'm actually going to do this, I guess what I'm going to call the easy way. Let me grab myself just a basic chest. Toss the things that I actually intend to carry often in here. Or, more precisely, the things I don't want to drop in here. And torches. And, okay, good. That makes me happy. These things can go in here. So, now I know that I could do this through the quest delivery system, and it would probably make more sense, as it were, than what I'm about to do. Hey, look, some saplings that are going to be useful for me. Good. But, and I'm about halfway through the lettuce quest. That's going to be nice. Well, let's go ahead and fill my inventory with tomatoes. There's 22%. The moment I don't really feel like setting up a quest delivery system and an export bus and all the stuff in between, I know it would make a lot of sense for me to just point an export bus at the QDS and let it rip, but unfortunately, there is an incompatibility that hasn't been fixed yet between the AE systems and the quest delivery system. If you directly export from AE into the QDS, whether it be fluid or solid, you don't get all of them counted. In fact, it seems like you get slightly less than half of them counted, and to me, that's an unacceptable failure rate. There, that'll finish that quest off. Grab that reward bag. Toss the tomatoes back in the system. That probably means I can go repurpose that field, because I now have many more tomatoes than I need. Make sure this is a valid heart. Yep, and an epic quest reward bag, in which I got 8 more aura nodes. That pleases me greatly. I'm not going to place them right now, but I'm going to toss them in this chest. So, Let's see what else is in here that we might be able to do. We already checked and we can't do leafy. I think I actually made these 1,000 spaghetti and meatballs. Yes. That's 2 more fully valid hearts. And 16 hives of each of many different versions. Wow. When I step into doing bees, that may very well jumpstart me 90% of the way through. That's kind of amazing. Let's see, where else are we? Oh, no. I haven't done any fishing. I haven't picked anything for juice. So, we're done in Hell's Kitchen. Will steel power let me move on? Yes. Yellorium and graphite bar. Almost laughable. Oh yes, I'm having a problem with Yellorium right now. Let me go grab that tin bar that I had for a reason and go fix that. This really is an issue with the pulverizer, not quite knowing how to pulverize the other type of tin to make pulverized tin. So, it's really simply a case of coming over here, putting that in here, replacing it. Ugh. That's frustrating. Well. Well, grab some tin. Pulverize a stack of it. Hopefully there'll be enough Yellorium left over to please me. Because I do have an automatic system running that makes Yellorium. You know what I'm going to do, just to make this a little bit easier on me and a little bit faster for all of you? I am going to remove the output for a moment, grab myself some tin. There. Now, I can fix the encoding on this, like so. Encode. Fixed that. Now this system knows how to make tin ingots with the other tin. You'll notice it didn't OR dictionary that. And still have a lot of sulfur left. I can make some Yellorium, and I have plenty of graphite. So, manual submit. That's a yellow heart canister. And you know what? I think I want the rutile. My understanding is that it will help me in mariculture. There's another heart. What a nice thing. And my reward bag is good. No, it's not. I hate jerky. I have a lot of it hidden around. So, what else? Reactor warm-up. I need a reactor casing and a Yellorium fuel rod, and I just need to make them by hand, huh? There it is. Easy. And reactor access port and reactor control rod, huh? It's changing things up on me. You guys just saw it. Reactor access port. I can drop one of these casings back in and make that. What was the other thing? Reactor control rod. And there's that. Happy? Yes. Cyanite, Yellorium, or a full heart. You know what? At this point, the Yellorium... No, I'll take the full heart. I have plenty of resources. These are 2 valid hearts. And an epic quest reward bag with a brewing stand, some blaze rods. You know what? If you wait enough, sometimes life just hands you exactly what you need. So, remember that quest that I just said I wanted to do? Let's see. I need an auto brewer. Nope, not that. Auto brewer. That. I need to make another repeater. So, need another torch. Well, make a stack of those. So I'm done. Steel power. Game says it recognizes that right-hand rewarder bag this time with health and regeneration potions and half a heart and a greater reward bag. Nice. And 2 dolls. And if I remember, this next, I have to actually craft the 2 despite having them in my hands. That's fine. It's nothing in there. Okay. We're doing pretty good on the quests here, folks. I'm quite proud of myself. Let me see. I wanted the recipe for it all. Let's start with... Do I have porcelain clay? No, I do not. But I have clay, and I have bone meal. I usually hover right around 10k of it, but it looks like I'm pretty low right now. Or, okay, that's right. That's because I'm using the pulverizer. A stack of porcelain clay hurts no one. Let's see, do I have more diamonds or emeralds? Diamonds, I guess. These I am not going to just willy-nilly make a stack of. I'm going to make those 2. Ask for the recipe for this. And I'm going to ask for the recipe for that. That gets me both of them. To finish, learning to skyblock. Completely done. That's a nice feeling. Oh, let's see. 1 greater reward bag. 16 pearl oysters. I'm pretty sure that I already had something like that over here. In fact, there's a bunch of stuff over here. Well, yeah, that makes 32 pearl oysters. Don't know what they're for. Don't know what to do with them, but I know I've got them. Pretty sure I have to put them underwater somewhere and they will generate pearls. So, that's cool. Now, not doing anything in here today. 1 quest with unclaimed rewards. Ah, yes. Automated mining. This is what I made this all for in the first place. I'm going to take the right-hand reward bag and see what I get out of the deal. Laser focus, red. Laser focus is brown. An epic reward bag and a valid heart. Let's see what the reward bag has in it. Diamond leggings with protection. A full suit of diamond protection 5 thorns 5. Do I have space in here for that? Nope, I certainly do not. You know what? I don't really want either of these picks anymore. And that does that for me. Okay. Now, this is the quest that I intend to do next episode. It'll get me 2 more laser drill prechargers. Let me check my time just to be sure. Yeah, unfortunately, folks, we are 10 minutes past the end of what I consider to be the maximum I should run an episode to, an hour. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As you see, I got a heck of a lot done. I'm just about to be ready for this sewage quest, and next time, we will set up that laser drill, and begin drawing off some of the power of the gigantic reactor I just created. See you next time, folks.